Look at him laughing because he's got no use for technology. Yeah, it's on.
Thank you.
Wait till he needs fire to make coffee, then his tune will change.
Yeah.
Today, we're in the South Wales Valleys where we're spending a few days in a rented cottage only 4 miles from Bike Park, Wales. This has become a bit of an annual pilgrimage that follows a strict itinerary of trails by day and beer and hot tub by night. If you'd like to take a closer look at our digs, follow the link at the top of the screen now. I've put the same link in the description too, so if you want to watch it later, you know where to find it. Right now though, we're off to grab breakfast and coffee and to pick up today's uplift passes. These are the golden tickets that make the 5.5-hour drive from Newcastle very much worthwhile. Not only is Bike Park Wales home to some of the UK's best trails, but it also provides a number of uplift buses that run continuously throughout the day. Each bus runs from the pickup point close to the visitor centre to the summit of Mynydd Gethin at an elevation of just over 1,600 feet. From there, it's just a case of picking a trail, riding it and repeating until exhausted. The park offers several grades of trail: green, blue, red, black and then pro line. Green trails are intended for beginners, blues for intermediate riders, reds for advanced riders, black trails are for experts, and I forget who the pro lines are for. Each trail, regardless of colour, is also categorised into one of 3 groups so you can get an idea of what to expect before riding them. These categories are flow trails, which are generally smooth and relatively wide, with a lot of berms, rollers and jumps, and they'll allow you to build up quite a lot of speed. Then there are tech trails, which make use of natural features such as rocks, roots, drops and steeper gradients. Tech trails are often slower than flow trails. And finally, blend trails, which are a mixture of both flow and tech. The features on the blue trails can all be rolled without your tyres leaving the ground. That said, if you pick up the pace, which isn't too difficult, then there are lots of opportunities to get some airtime. Most of the blue trails fall into the flow category. The red trails can mostly be rolled too, but they require a higher technical ability. Trails like locomotion and insufficient funds are arguably better approached with a lot of speed, which means you'll definitely be leaving the ground. There are only a few red trails that fall into the flow category. Most sit firmly beneath the tech label. As you would expect, the black trails are very committing with some really quite large, unavoidable technical features, and almost all of them fall into the tech category. Pro lines are, well, best left to the pros. This little oddity is roller disco, and I think it's pretty fair to say that it's unique in the Bike Park Wales universe. In essence, roller disco is a pump track, but it's a pump track on a hillside, which means that it's not hard to go faster than you probably should. If you haven't visited a park like this before and taken advantage of an uplift, you might be surprised to find out just how much your fingers and forearms suffer over the course of a day. Most of us who enjoy mountain biking are likely to spend significantly more time pedalling up hills than we do coming back down them again. So it's not until you visit a place like this that you really appreciate just how hard it is on your arms to go downhill quickly for sustained periods. This trail, Blue Belle, is one of the key routes back to either the visitor centre or the uplift pickup point. There are a good number of trails that eventually spit you out onto this one, so if you're planning a trip here, expect to become familiar with it.
phenomenal timing, well done.
Perfect timing.
Not all trails lead back to the tunnel that we passed through a little earlier, but if you find yourself there, you've got some options. Some trails, like Snakebite and Insufficient Funds, will take you back to the uplift, whereas some will take you back to the visitor centre, maybe for a snack or beverage or possibly to survey the shiny wares in the shop. Bushwhacker is one of the latter. Rather annoyingly, I've got a broken spoke, so I'm heading back to hunt for a replacement and to enjoy a nice cool can of Fanta. You should know that I'm not sponsored by Fanta, but I probably wouldn't pass up the opportunity if it were to arise. As far as I know, this is the only feature in the park that's been developed specifically for road cyclists. Rumour has it that two roadies can pass through this gap, riding side by side, and still have more space left over than would be afforded to them by an overtaking motorist. Luckily, the shop had a spare spoke, so after 10 minutes of tinkering, we're heading back to the uplift. To get from the visitor centre to the uplift pickup, you'll need to follow a trail called Norkle. Norkle actually begins a little way up the hill where I joined Bushwhacker earlier, so that's another option if you're heading directly for a bus. Obviously, this is another trail that you'll get to know well if you ride here, and the more you ride it, the faster it becomes. This is Vicious Valley. It's 1.2 kilometres long and it's a tech trail. A little way ahead is a fork and the option to follow A470, but after reviewing that footage, I've put myself on notice and I've been told that if I don't do better next time, I'm gonna get very cross. So right now we'll be staying on Vicious Valley. As you can see, the trail is narrow in parts and it twists between an expanse of tree stumps and roots. So, much like that John Bovey fella, it can be slippery when wet. I wouldn't worry too much though. Wales is famed for its arid landscape and some parts of it haven't seen rainfall in almost 20 minutes. You may already know this, but at the bottom of this descent there's a road gap. I think we can both agree that that was quite disappointing, so I'm going to give it another go. Not perfect by any stretch, but definitely better. Now we're heading across the other side of the forest to ride Terry's Belly. At a mammoth 4.6 kilometres, this is by far the longest trail the park has to offer. However, we're not going to ride it all. Instead, we're going to skip part of it so we can ride Popty Ping, which is Welsh for hang on, I've had an idea. Only kidding, it means microwave. Popty Ping is a plus trail, which means that it has features that are likely to make you airborne. Okay, that could have gone better. Closer. That's it. Now I just need to master all of the other tabletops on this trail. Spoiler alert, that's not gonna happen till season 6. Popty Ping rejoins Terry's Belly after half a kilometre. Over the last couple of years, Terry's Belly has received a lot of attention, with the top, middle and bottom sections all undergoing substantial work. There aren't really any technical features, but it's one of the park's most popular trails for a reason. It's just never-ending flow. From here on down, it's just a string of glorious berms almost all the way back to the uplift. I like to keep these videos around 10 to 12 minutes, so I should definitely be wrapping up soon, but we need to take a look at one more flow fest before I do. When I recorded this footage, the upper section of Willy Waver had just reopened after substantial work. It turned out to be one of my favourite trails of the trip. Super fast and super smooth. In fact, it's so smooth, it's like running your hand across a freshly oiled Barry White. The summary of this trail on the Bike Park Wales website says that Willy Waver is one of those trails that makes you feel like a world champion. And it does. That is one of the most perfect and beautifully accurate trail descriptions that I've read. There are a couple of berms that can catch you off guard if you hit them with too much speed, so you'll need to be careful, but on the whole it's one of the most perfectly arranged trails that I've had the pleasure to ride. It's my understanding that this section at the bottom of Willy Waver is currently receiving the same treatment that the top section did, and I can't wait to ride it. Before we wrap up, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who supported this channel and hit the subscribe button. Over the last month or so I've seen a really positive increase in the number of people watching my videos, and that's incredibly reassuring. I try to make them as professional and entertaining as I can, and it means a great deal when I see people responding well to them. Stay tuned because I'm definitely heading back to Bike Park Wales later this year, and I'm planning to focus more on the red trails. If this is your first visit to this channel, please consider subscribing. If you do, and you click the bell icon, you'll be the first to know about new videos when they're released. If you found this video to be entertaining or helpful, please also give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.